My name is Ivy. I am 24 years old. I left my small town on a cold Sunday morning. I packed my bag and hugged my parents. My mom kissed my head. My dad didn't say much. He just held my hand and looked at me. I smiled, but my heart felt heavy. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I had to be strong. I needed to find a better life. I came to Los Angeles on a big bus. The ride was long. I looked out the window most of the time. I thought about my future. I didn't have a plan. I just knew I had to try. When I arrived, I felt nervous. The city was loud and busy. Everything was new, but something in me felt ready. This is my new start, I thought. I can do this. I found a small room to rent. It was in an old building. The walls were thin and the light was weak, but it was my first place alone. I didn't care that it was small. I sat on the bed and looked around. I smiled to myself. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. The next few days were hard. I walked around the city looking for work. I went to shops and asked for jobs. Most people said no. Some didn't even look at me. I felt tired. I didn't eat much. I missed home. I missed my mom's food. I missed the quiet streets. But I told myself I had to stay strong. One morning, I sat on the stairs outside my building. I held a small bottle of water and watched the street. I felt lost. Then I heard a voice say, "You new here?" I looked up and saw a man near the gate. He had kind eyes and a soft smile. "I'm Jack," he said. "I'm Ivy," I said back. He came and sat near me. He said he lived upstairs. He asked about my move. I told him a little about my town. He listened and smiled. He told me about the area. He gave me names of places to eat and shop. Before he left, he said, "If you need anything, come find me." That night, I felt a little better. Someone saw me. Someone spoke to me like I mattered. I started seeing Jack more often. Sometimes he met me in the hallway. Sometimes he brought me food. He made me laugh. He called me strong. He made me feel like I could do anything. I liked being around him. He helped me find small jobs. One time, he told me about a man who needed help at a warehouse. I worked for 5 hours and got paid. I thanked Jack when I came back. "You saved me," I said. He smiled and said, "That's what friends do." I worked here and there. I cleaned some houses. I helped at a small food stall. It wasn't much, but I paid rent. I ate every day. That was enough. At night, I sat with Jack and talked. I started to trust him. I thought maybe he cared about me. One night, he asked me to come to his room. "Just to talk," he said. I felt unsure, but I went. His room was small like mine. We watched a movie and ate snacks. I felt happy. I liked being close to him. Soon he called me every day. He asked where I was. He asked who I talked to. At first it felt nice. He cared. But then it felt strange. He didn't like when I talked to other people. If I didn't answer fast, he got upset. He said, "Maybe I care too much." Or, Maybe I should stop helping you." I didn't know what to think. Was this love? Or something else? He made me feel happy some days, but other days I felt small. He said I was lucky he liked me. He said no one else would care for me here. I looked in the mirror one night. I didn't like what I saw. Then one evening, I saw Jack walking with another girl. They were laughing. She touched his arm. He didn't stop her. I stood still. When he saw me, he looked away. He didn't say anything. I walked back to my room. My chest hurt. My eyes were full of tears. That night, I sat on my bed and cried. I came to this city to build a better life, but now I felt more alone than ever. I wanted to believe in something. I wanted to feel seen, but maybe I had made a big mistake. After that night, I didn't talk to Jack for days. I stayed in my room. I didn't go out unless I had to. I stopped sitting on the stairs. I didn't want to see his face. My chest felt heavy all the time. I asked myself, was I not good enough? I thought Jack cared about me. I believed his kind words. Now, I didn't know what was true. He didn't try to explain. He didn't knock on my door. He didn't even text me. I waited for a message. I waited for an answer. But there was nothing. Just silence. And that silence hurt more than any lie. One day, I saw them again. Jack and the other girl. They were at the corner shop near my building. I went in to buy bread. He looked at me, then looked away, like I was nothing, like we were strangers. I felt my throat close. I paid for my bread and left quickly. That night, I cried again. I told myself to stop, but I couldn't. I missed him. Or maybe I just missed how he made me feel at first. I missed the soft voice, the small jokes, the feeling that someone was on my side. Now, all I felt was shame. I thought I was smart. I thought I could handle city life, but I felt small again. A week later, I went back to work. I needed money. I needed to live. One of the homes I cleaned gave me extra hours. I cleaned floors and bathrooms. My hands hurt. My back ached. But I didn't care. Work kept my mind busy. When I worked, I didn't think about Jack. Still, at night, the sadness came back. I lay in bed and looked at the ceiling. I thought about my old town. I thought about my mom's voice. "You are stronger than you think," she once told me. But right now, I didn't feel strong. I began to eat less. I didn't talk to many people. I went to work, came home, and stayed inside. I knew this wasn't good, but I didn't know what to do. The city felt cold again, big and full of noise. I felt lost in it. Then one morning, something changed. I saw a small sign near the bus stop. It said, "Delivery help needed." The pay was not much, but it was close to my place. I took a photo of the number and called. The job was simple. I helped carry boxes from the back of trucks. The man in charge was old but kind. His name was George. He didn't ask many questions. He just said, "You show up, you get paid." I worked hard. I didn't talk much, but I showed up every day. George saw that. He started to give me more hours. After work, he sometimes gave me tea. We sat in silence, drinking from old cups. He didn't know my story, but he knew I needed this job. Slowly, I started to feel a little better. My hands still hurt, but my heart was not as heavy. I saw less of Jack, and even when I didn't look at him. He was no longer part of my life. He made his choice. I was done waiting for people who didn't care. One afternoon while working, a man walked in to pick up some packages. He had a gentle smile. His name was Ben. He came often, always polite, always calm. One day, I helped carry something heavy to his car. "Thank you," he said, smiling. "You're strong." His words surprised me. No one had said that in a long time. I looked at him. "I just carry boxes," I said. He smiled again. "That's not easy. Not everyone can do that." Ben came every few days. He always said hello. He asked how my day was. I gave short answers at first. I was careful. I didn't want to trust too fast again. But Ben was patient. He didn't push. He just showed up. Again and again. One rainy day, I forgot my umbrella. I stood under the building roof, waiting for the rain to stop. Ben saw me and ran over. "Need a ride?" he asked. I wanted to say no, but I was cold and wet, so I said yes. His car was warm and clean. He didn't ask many questions. He just played soft music and smiled. "You remind me of someone," he said. "My sister. She's strong too." That made me smile. For the first time in weeks, I felt seen in a good way. From that day, we started talking more. He told me he used to work as a driver, but now helped his uncle's small business. I told him I cleaned homes and helped with boxes. I didn't tell him about Jack. I didn't want to bring that pain into something new. As days passed, I started feeling different. Not just because of Ben, but because of me. I stopped waiting for someone to save me. I woke up early. I cleaned my room. I cooked simple food. I didn't cry at night anymore. I even changed how I looked at myself. I used to feel small when I passed a mirror. Now I looked and said, "You are still here. You didn't give up." Ben and I started meeting outside work too. We went for walks. We talked about life. He made me laugh, but he never made me feel small. He didn't act like he owned me. He just liked me as I was. One evening, we sat on a bench near a small park. He looked at me and said, "You seem different now." I nodded. "I am," I said. "I'm not lost anymore." And I meant it. The days started to feel full again. I didn't wake up with a heavy chest anymore. I worked. I ate. I smiled more. I even laughed sometimes. Not because life was easy, but because I was learning to live again. Ben was still around. He came by often, but never pushed into my space. He waited. He asked how I was. He made me feel safe. And that made a big difference. He didn't try to fix me. He just let me be myself. One Saturday morning, we met for coffee near the park. It was sunny and the wind was soft. I looked at him and felt something warm. I hadn't felt that in a long time. Not since the early days with Jack. But this time it was different. I wasn't lost. I wasn't weak. I was standing on my own feet now. We sat on a bench in the park. The sun was warm on my face. Ben looked at me. His eyes were kind. "I'm glad you came today," he said. "I wanted to," I replied. There was a small silence, but it wasn't heavy. It felt soft, like a blanket. "Do you ever think about starting again?" he asked. I smiled, just a little. Every day. Ben didn't rush me. He just listened. I told him how I had felt broken, how mornings were the hardest, how I used to cry in the shower so no one would hear. He didn't look away. He didn't say, "It will be okay." He just let me speak. "That must have been hard," he said softly. "It was, but it's better now. Not perfect, but better." He nodded. I felt calm with him, like I didn't need to hide. We talked for a long time, about simple things, work, books, music. I laughed when he told me a silly story from his job. It felt good to laugh again. Then he said something I didn't expect. "I don't want to be just your friend forever," he said. "But I'll wait, as long as you need." My heart skipped. Not in fear, but surprise. "Ben, I'm not ready yet," I whispered. "I know," he said. "I'm not asking for anything now. I just want to be here. When you're ready." I didn't answer, but I felt something deep inside me shift. A little hope, a little warmth. We stood up to leave. He walked me home. When we reached my door, he didn't ask to come in. He just smiled. "I'm happy you're finding yourself again," he said. "Me too," I replied. After he left, I sat by the window. I watched people walk by, and I thought about how far I had come. Months ago, I couldn't even get out of bed. Now, I had a job again. I cooked meals. I listened to music. I wore colors again. Not just black and gray. I was still healing, but I wasn't empty anymore. One evening, I looked through old photos with Jack. Some made me smile. Some made me cry. But I didn't break. That night, I didn't cry myself to sleep. I just closed my eyes and felt okay. The next morning, I called Ben. "Do you want to go for a walk later?" I asked. "I'd love to," he said. We walked by the lake. Ducks swam near the edge. Kids laughed in the distance. I looked at him. "I still feel scared sometimes," I said. He nodded. "That's okay. You're allowed to feel that." "I don't know what the future looks like," I added. "None of us do," he smiled. "But we can take one step at a time." I liked that. One step at a time. We walked for hours. We didn't talk all the time, but it didn't feel strange, just peaceful. When he took my hand, I didn't pull away. I let him hold it. After coffee, we walked past my old building, the place where everything started. My chest felt tight. So many memories lived inside those walls. I stopped walking. I looked up at the windows. My old room was still there. The curtain I bought still hung in the window. I lived there, I said softly. Ben looked up. It looks small. It was, I said. But it was mine. I came here with nothing. That room was all I had. He stayed quiet, waiting for me to go on. I met someone here, I added. He helped me when I was lost. I thought he cared about me, but he didn't. He broke me. Ben nodded slowly. Was that the guy from the shop? I saw you once. You looked upset. My stomach turned. So he had seen it. I looked down at my hands. Yes, that was him. You don't have to tell me anything you don't want to, he said gently. I want to, I said, because it's part of my story, and I'm not scared of it anymore. I told him everything. I told him how Jack helped me at first, made me feel seen. I told him how it changed, how he started to control me, how he made me feel small, then left me for someone else. I told him how I cried in my bed at night, how I almost gave up. Ben didn't say much. He listened. That's all I needed. When I finished, I looked up at him. His eyes were soft, kind. I'm sorry you went through that, he said, but I'm proud of you. You didn't stay in that pain. You got out. I nodded. Yes, I got out, and I had. That truth felt good to say out loud. But then something happened. Later that week, I had to pick up my pay from George's place. As I walked in, I saw Jack. He was standing near the truck, laughing with another worker. My heart jumped. I wanted to turn around. I wanted to run, but I didn't. I kept walking. Jack saw me. His face changed. He looked surprised. Then he smiled like nothing had happened. Ivy, he said. Hey. I gave a small nod. Hi. He looked at me like he wanted to talk. You look different, he said. I didn't answer. He walked closer. You've been okay? I'm fine, I said. My voice was calm. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel small. I felt like me. I heard you've been working here, helping George, he said. That's good. I always knew you were strong. I looked at him, and for the first time I didn't feel any pain, just distance. I saw the games, I saw the lies, and I saw how much I had changed. I don't need your words, I said. Not now. Not ever. His face changed. No, I said. You don't get to talk to me like that anymore. He opened his mouth again, but I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. My heart was racing, but not from fear, from power. I left the building and walked to the small bench across the street. I sat down and breathed deeply. That moment, the moment I said no, felt like fire in my chest. A good fire, a strong one. Later that night, I told Ben what happened. He smiled. "You did it," he said. "Yes," I said. I finally did. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't look at the ceiling and ask why. I knew why. I had to break to rebuild. And now, I was building something better. My life. For me. A few months passed. I moved to a new room in a better building. It was still small, but it was clean and bright. I bought a little table, a warm blanket, and a plant for the window. It felt like home. I still worked with George, but now I also helped organize things. He said I was smart and good with people. For the first time, I believed that. Ben and I grew closer. We didn't rush anything. He was kind, honest, and calm. One evening, we sat at the park watching the sky turn orange. "You've changed," he said. I smiled. "I found myself." He reached for my hand. "I'm glad I met you." I held his hand back. "Me too." I didn't need a perfect life. I didn't need big things. I just needed peace, respect, and love that didn't hurt. And now, I had that. Not because of anyone else, but because I chose to heal. Because I chose me.